One thing I'd like to say is, first, I'd like to thank all of the community members that are here. In general, everything was very respectful. It was on point, and it's one of the reasons why I do love this community. Even in such a very controversial, polarizing topic, everybody sat up there, was incredibly respectful, was on point, as I said, and very moving. I took all of the counts from both sides. I do understand that our solicitor has pretty much come down and said that we have a very difficult situation here, where as in the invocation and benediction is not legal. I would like to start a new tradition here in Pottsgrove. We started one yesterday with the senior walk. I'm asking the board for a motion, and I'm going to ask for a second, that we have something called, for this particular graduation class, because we don't have enough time to develop a whole policy. So what I'm going to say is, for the motion is for this particular class, that we have a gratuitous speech that is offered to a student to say what they feel is best and how they want to thank the administration, the teachers, the students that are involved, and how they can say their way of saying thank you, and how everything that they're overall gratified in what is the 13 years they've accomplished. Then I'm also asking the board to throw back the overall meaning of what we're going to say back to the Student Affairs Committee and see if we can come up with a full policy on what we want to do going forward. But on this particular graduating class, I'm asking for the board and motioning for the board to have a gratuitous speech, one that can be followed by maybe a moment of reflection.
Mr. Leach, what will you call that speech?
We'll call it a student representative speech.
I'll second your motion.
Well, I would third it, or I would have seconded it, as long as we clarify. I agree with what you're saying, and it's actually exactly what Liberty Council was saying. They use the term meeting, or a message, but speech, same thing. As long as we're clear, I don't think we can define. You were giving examples, which is fine, but maybe Mr. Davis can guide us in the wording of the motion, because we can't censor it. We can't say you can say this, you can't say that.
I think the motion's fine. I think it's, I can certainly work with Superintendent Fiola and guide the administration of the review of the speeches and what our involvement will be, which again, as suggested earlier, will be for the purpose of disruption or promotion of illegal activities. But putting that aside, I think it's perfectly neutral, and again, I don't think we should go further in suggesting what the content of the speech would be, because again, we are to be neutral. We'll let that student decide. We're not going to let the students decide whether there's going to be prayer or not. Clearly, the cases suggest that should not be delegated to a vote. We're simply suggesting it's I forget how you phrased it, Al, but
Al will say the motion will be for the board to vote on a student representative speech followed by a moment of reflection.
You want to use that word gratuitous, or was that the word I'm making up?
No, we'll use just strictly student representative speech followed by a moment of reflection.
Mr. Leach, have you given thought as to how this student will be selected in the number of days that we have left? Question one and question two, given the full plates of the graduating senior class, some who might have been interested in speaking if this had been done 9 months ago might not be all that anxious to write something in such a short period of time. So
well, I understand it. Again, I don't want to usurp the board's authority here. I understand there are already student speakers. Could one of those be sort of suggesting that they do that kind of speech as opposed to an academic? I understand Shelley's looking at the program.
Well, we already have two speakers, the salutatorian and the valedictorian, and they already have their speeches written because they're already titled.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not fair to them.
The idea of a student representative speech, I would think, would be for somebody. We have the valedictorian and salutatorian. Obviously, those represent the pinnacle of academic achievement in our school. A student representative would be just that, somebody who represents the entire class.
Is there an
in all of
elected
their
person
aspects.
we could pick?
I would suggest that the student government, if time constraint is a big issue, I would suggest that the student government canvass the class and select somebody, nominate somebody, have the class vote on it very quickly, and that person, if they get a simple majority, or I would say even a plurality in the case of a number of candidates, that person would go forward and give a speech that is representative of the entire class. Very simple, a speech of gratitude, period.
I mean, is there any?
Well, we have a speech, we have a motion and a second. So I'll take this opportunity to make my remarks that I wanted to make. And as we've heard several times already, thank you to everyone who's here tonight. I don't believe that the way that you come to a good decision is with less speech and fewer people. I believe the answer to every discussion is more speech and more people. The ideas that we have from our community are going to be better when it's bounced around and talked through and thrashed out than we could ever do by ourselves. I would particularly like to thank the students that came here tonight and spoke. All of them? Yep. Carolyn, Alex, and Brady. And I would like to... And I think one of the things they said, and each of them said it in their own way, was this day, graduation, is about the students. And that's really true. But larger than that, it's about our entire community. We have spent, collectively, 13 years shepherding these students through this experience. We have tried at home to support them, in some of their part-time jobs to support them. Their coaches have supported them. Teachers have supported them. All of us have supported them. We all have not only a financial interest through our taxes, but we have a vested interest in the success of these students. And it is our day to look at them one last time in the eye and say, all of those things that you have learned in the classrooms, in the shops that you attended, in the art rooms, in the music rooms, all of those things that you've learned in the practice fields and on the professional fields and on the courts, all of those things you have learned have brought you to this day. And we want to look at you one time before you go out into the big wide world, one last time, and say, you're ready for this. You can do this. This is about the students. And we do need to respect them. I would also say that if we've done our job right, if we have done our job correctly, we can trust the students to make the right decision, because they are a reflection of our community and our values from all different sources and everything they've learned. I trust them to behave with dignity and respect, with grace and decency, with courage and conviction and gratitude. I trust them, and I hope the rest of this board will, and this community will as well.
For student representative, it seems to me that tonight we actually had 3 come out to represent the students. So maybe between the 3 of them, they could choose one of you 3, or as a group, the 3 of you do it. But it seems to me you were the 3 that came forth to state your views as seniors. And, you know, as you said, I would trust them. I would trust the 3 of you, whether as a group or to choose one of you to come up with a speech of some sort that would represent all the students. That's what you did tonight, so that'd be my suggestion.
I think that's a good thought. I don't know how fair it would be to the rest of the seniors, though. Maybe the senior leadership, the senior government can get together and discuss this with that in consideration, but I would hate to keep out anybody that wasn't able to attend, although, you know, you're right to acknowledge it, yeah.
If I can just point something out, being the parent of a graduating senior, they're basically not going to be seeing each other as a class until they have commencement practice. Tomorrow and the next day are senior finals, But a lot of the kids, like my son, isn't taking them because he already took his AP tests. They're very scattered up until graduation. So I have no idea how you'd be able to get everybody together, get any kind of vote. I'm just putting that out there, just because that's reality right now.
If we do move forward with this, can we make it as an option for the senior class, so it's not something they feel they have to do, but we're saying, hey, if you would like to do this, because maybe they can't because of timing, or, you know. Before we finish the discussion, Mr. Rabinowitz, Board President, can we give opportunity for the administration and any teachers and or students to comment on this, since this is a new idea?
To comment on the what we're talking about, because I still have something I want to finish in saying. I'm working on the motion now.
I just wanted to make comment to the board that, the class president does have some remarks that they make. So that person, Nikita, will already be coming up to the podium, and actually she'll be up there because she's presiding over the whole event. So it might be prudent to just have her make a few remarks. We've already added an additional soloist to the program, and I think adding another speech per se, unless, we want to take a speech away, is going to make this a little bit wieldy and perhaps long and lengthy, more than what the students are wanting to sit through. So you might want to consider that, before we impose that on them.
Well, I don't think we should impose anything on the senior class, so, but we do have a motion and a second right now to have a separate speech. So I think we need to deal with that motion and second. Somebody could make an amendment to the motion if they were so inclined to do so. Again, I defer to the collective judgment.
And if I could just make one more comment, Mr. Rabinowitz, I will be practicing with the seniors for commencement on Monday. So if the board would be so inclined, it would be very easy for us to have a class meeting at that time, and I could talk with the seniors about some appropriate choices that, that Mr. Davis would recommend to us, and see what they would like to do, so long as we're in the parameters of following the law.
Before we vote with this new information, Al, what are your thoughts with what? Because I didn't realize we had the student president was speaking. What do you think we should keep it to the president since you made the motion, or still have the option for them to do something separate?
I think you should give the students the option.
Caroline, did you want to say something? If you talk loudly.
The idea of giving students the choice to vote is really great and everything, but the next time you're going to see us all as a class is on Monday, and we graduate on a Wednesday. So there's not really a lot of time logistically to come up with a speech in between Monday and Wednesday and give the seniors enough time to vote and think about it. This has been a really big decision and a really big discussion here. So, to just ask the seniors to vote in an hour's time span is not the best way to hash things out.
All right, then.
It might be better for you guys to decide here.
Yeah, I'm a senior. So, you guys have gave us so much, technology. We have apps and group messages that we have, all the seniors in. The laptops, we literally could set up a survey in a little bit amount of time, send out a text saying, hey, let's do a vote or whatever. There's so many ways that you can go about this. So, I don't think we should just give it to, the president. I don't think we should hash it, just not have it at all. But there's so many ways, so much technology, we could figure it out. And I'm pretty sure if somebody's really passionate about doing the speech, they'll do it. They can get it done overnight if they really wanted it. So if a person's passionate enough about it, then of course that person should have that opportunity to say that.
After listening to these two seniors, I'm going to stick with my motion that I would like the student body to have the opportunity to decide if they want to have a student representative speak, followed by a moment of reflection.
We have a motion and we have a second. Are there any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain.
I just have one few things I'd like to say because I've been pretty quiet about this, but feel I have to speak to move forward. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and I'm so proud of the seniors. I mean, this is all about the seniors' graduation. But, oh, you can't hear my microphone? Can you hear me now? Okay. There we go. Is that better? The benediction and invocation has been a long-standing tradition at Pottsgrove graduation and has always been student-driven. Student-driven is a key word. To me, this is not about the law of prayer in public schools or allowing the student-driven benediction or invocation at Pottsgrove graduation. We have bigger issues going on with the district and the school directors that need to be addressed publicly. And unfortunately, with the community here, I feel this is the best time. I know the public has not read the unbelievable, disrespectful, threatening email dated June 12, 2015 that was emailed to Ms. Fiola and Dr. Shirk. Ms. Fiola felt threatened and needed to notify the rest of the board of the tone in the email. Mr. Rabinowitz calling the student giving the invocation obnoxious, now saying the student's words were beautifully written. Also stating last year's invocation and benediction did, at best, a poor job of doing this, and I was mightily annoyed. What board director talks about students in that manner? Making an ultimatum directed at Dr. Ziegler in regards to prayer. You openly question the integrity of a well-respected principal. How does Dr. Ziegler move forward knowing the person who will vote on his raises has a personal and documented bias against him? I also want to add that pertains to Ms. Fiola and her administration also. Mr. Rabinowitz ends the email by saying, and I quote this, "Do I need to make this a public issue, or can I count on the two of you to make this graduation ceremony the last time we pray?" Mr. Rabinowitz didn't want tonight's special meeting. Mr. Rabinowitz thought tonight was a waste of time, not feeling in need of explanation or concern to our community. It took board members to force Mr. Rabinowitz for all of us to be here tonight. I want the community to know I have suggested outside training for board directors to assist them in understanding their role. The board needs to be collaborating with the district, not against the district. Our administration and teachers are walking on eggshells each day. Teachers are fed up with decisions made by board children's decisions, not students at large. Hidden agenda is a new buzzword in our community. I know there have been violations of the Sunshine Law. Just recently, when there was an administration position open, Mr. Rabinowitz reached out to a retired teacher to see if they would be interested, and then lobbying for 5 board votes to overturn Ms. Fiola's recommendation. This is not the role of a school director, let alone the role as the president of the school board. Our administration are constantly being taken away from their everyday duties. Their commitment to our students is their everyday goal. I love Pottsgrove School District and our community. I want every student to feel proud of what they have accomplished at their own level of growth and to have wonderful lasting memories as they grow and leave the nest. It is now time for our Pottsgrove community to move forward and heal. No more personal agendas, no bullying, no more threatening tactics. There is no I in the word team. Working together for the betterment of all students. Mr. Rabinowitz, you do not really have the leadership qualities to serve on the board, let alone lead it. I strongly recommend and ask that you do what is right and resign your position as school director of Pottsgrove School District immediately. Thank you.
after saying that, and you're saying that we all need to work as a team, how do you expect us now to work as a team? You just aired all kinds of dirty laundry in public. You spoke of an executive session that we had that was a private executive session. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So we cannot work as a team if we have someone like you who is continuously tearing us apart.
Yes, and transparency, whenever you knew about this last August, and yet you also chose to remain silent about it until now.
Actually, to be honest with you, I didn't realize until we got the email from Caroline that this even came up.
So you don't read your emails then?
I do not recall it.
You know, Patty, I am going to not respond to you because if I were to do so, I could list a good dozen actions of yours that were far more questionable. But I won't do that. I won't do that. What I'm going to do is suggest to you that I am not going to resign at this time, but I'm going to take the summer to consider whether this is worth it to me and my family, and whether I want to continue working with you, because you are a very bitter woman, and I am done.
Well, okay, thank you. We came to this meeting after a lot of emotions. We concluded the topic at hand. In the last couple minutes, we've heard from a couple different people. I'm going to try to remain neutral in my remarks if I can. That's my intent. We heard some facts and we heard some opinions. I prefer to stick with the facts that were stated. I have seen things, I have heard things. I know, and I encouraged, not naming names, I had encouraged, yes, on Facebook, that everyone from the board speaking be honest and forthright and upfront. I appreciate facts, especially facts that can be backed with proof. I don't want to see this meeting, like Mr. Leach said, most of the public comments were, respectful, right on. We had a nice, it was long, but a nice meeting on a very difficult topic, but we were, for the most part, able to listen to each other. And I hate for this meeting to end with a battle between board members. I appreciate Mr. Rabinowitz stating that he would take, I think he said the summer, to consider things. If there was a motion made, I was considering seconding it, but it would be very difficult because I have seen a lot of good in our board president, Mr. Rabinowitz. He and I, previous to this, were able to discuss anything and everything under the sun. And on a lot of national topics and this kind of thing, we both recognized we were polar opposites. But we were able to unite for those issues that we felt were meaningful to this district and this community. But again, I would request that we hear what was said, consider what the facts are, and not start getting shout-outs from the audience, But to move forward, there was a statement made, there was a response, and my suggestion is that we move on with the meeting unless there's going to be a motion made. That's all.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we adjourn this meeting? We won't be talking about the budget tonight. I think time does not allow that. So we'll have to wait till next week for that.
I did also just want to add to maybe more of an upbeat note. Again, thank you all for coming. It's great to sit here and see faces instead of just empty chairs. But I would also echo Alex Gallion's announcement that because we are all very passionate in our opinions about religion, God, prayer, etc., please come to the middle school on Monday for our baccalaureate at 7 o'clock for our students, for our graduating seniors, because I'm sure that it will be wonderful and I will be there to support you. So I invite everybody here to also attend. Thank you.
Last call. Bob?
Motion to adjourn?
Actually, we don't have to vote on that one. Meeting adjourned.